Hey guys, welcome back to Movie Sen Podcast. I'm Summer.
And I'm Lynn.
Oh, and I also just want to give a quick thank you to everyone who has been listening to us. And we really appreciate all of you guys. And we're just glad to be doing this. It's been so much fun so far, and even for the serious topics, it's been a lot of, well, I guess not necessarily fun all the time, but really interesting to talk with Lynn and just share our opinions on everything and our experiences. But anyway, let's get started on this podcast. Today, we're going to talk about stereotypes. Lynn, do you want to get it going?
Yeah, so since we're talking about stereotypes, I just want to lay out the groundwork. The general definition of a stereotype is generalization that can or may also not have some kind of nugget of truth to it that is generalized to a person or a group of people, and it can be positive or negative. I personally don't like that positive or negative distinction because a positive stereotype still has negative impact. So stereotypes in general are bad, even though they have certain ones called positive stereotypes, which means that you're giving some kind of attribute that is desired towards a group. I think one that's definitely going to
Mm,
come up today is the positive stereotype that Asians are smart, right? Since we're both half Asian.
yeah.
And yes, that's a positive stereotype, but the impact that has towards projecting an image on people and when they don't live up to that stereotype, that's a negative impact, right? So like in a way it
Yeah.
doesn't help anyone.
Yeah, I remember hearing a lot about that, and I think it started in middle school because my elementary school was it was pretty diverse. Not that my middle school wasn't, but since I went to middle school in America, it was a very different environment, and I think that's when I first started noticing people categorizing me, at least at school
Mhm.
anyway, categorizing me as Asian or mixed, and a lot of them would say, "Oh, you're smart because you're Asian."
Were there a lot of mixed people at your school?
No, there weren't. I mean, maybe there were, but not that I knew of. I'm trying to think. I only knew of like a few, and one of them was my best friend. So it was small. Like the diversity, at least for biracial, multiracial people, it was very small. And I'm gonna be real, there weren't a lot of Asians at my school either. So that might be also another reason why they kept saying stuff like that too. And it didn't help that I was also like in advanced classes. I like tested out or whatever. But anyway, it's just like they just all, it felt like everyone was saying that about all the Asians that I knew, how very little there were of them.
Yeah, there were actually a lot of Asians in comparison to some of the other schools around. Obviously didn't have the highest percentage of Asians, but we definitely had a larger percentage than most of the schools around.
How many, like, what do you think the percentage was?
I actually looked it up recently and it was over 20%,
Oh my God,
which
that's a
is a
lot.
lot for this area, I think. I can't remember
Mm-hmm.
exactly the percentage, but it was definitely a pretty high percentage. But I also had that same issue where I think there were like a couple other mixed people and I was friends with them, and but there weren't that many of us.
Yeah.
But I wanted to go first into stereotypes about just the side of the minority that we have. So, did you encounter any specific stereotypes about you being Japanese?
Yeah, I did. One that comes up like at the top of my mind when I think about that is when I moved here to Virginia. I don't remember who it was, but somebody in my middle school, they asked me, "Oh, since you're from Japan, do the people live in like grass huts?" And I mean, that's just, in my opinion, that's just like such a fucking dumb question. But maybe, I don't know if they meant to hurt me, or maybe they were actually just totally ignorant to that country. Um, but yeah, somebody asked me that, and I couldn't believe it because that's literally, I don't know where that would come from, but he was totally ignorant.
That's an interesting thing to ask because Japan is not known to be like a third world country. Like, I've
Yeah,
also
I
gotten that same question for like my
really.
Vietnamese side, right? But almost in a way, it makes more sense for someone to ask me that question than it does to ask you if that's true for Japan, just because Japan's been modernized for like quite a while.
I am just gonna give that person the benefit of the doubt, and I'm just gonna say they were ignorant to Japan in general. And also, we were all middle schoolers at the time, so we didn't know anything about anything. So I'll give them the benefit of the doubt, but I didn't appreciate that question, that's for sure. But I can't believe you were asked that question too, though. I feel like, to me, it felt like a rude question.
Yeah, I also think it was pretty rude. In middle school, when people would ask me that, the only reason I would kind of give them a pass is because, at least in the curriculum I was in, that was around the time they started teaching about American history, like in eighth grade or whatever. And then, of
Mhm.
course, they talk about the war in Vietnam, right? And
Right.
back then, and the way they paint it was like, there was a lot of guerrilla warfare. And there were people living in huts and
Right.
stuff like that. So that I can kind of give a pass. But my family lived in the city and were pretty well off before they left.
Mhm. Yeah.
So I wasn't offended so much. Well, I was later, I think, but I think I was more just kind of like, what the fuck kind of question is this?
Exactly.
Like, just the idea that they're projecting that all immigrants are poor,
Yeah.
or like their country is poor and that's the reason they come here, when there's people who are financially well off before some kind of tragedy happens and then they lose it all and then come here, kind of thing. Like, it's just kind of weird that they would think that anyone that is perceived as foreign is poor.
Yeah, it is weird. That and it's just to me, I think it's just they're so ignorant to
The world.
yeah, literally anything outside of their county or perhaps their state or
Hmm.
country. It's just they know nothing about it. And it's kind of sad because, man, you really need to get out there and look at the world because it's beautiful. And you're going to see so many different people that are just amazing and you can learn so much from them. I just it's crazy. That one, the grass huts one, that's just fucking nuts to me. I don't know.
Honestly, I think part of that, now that we're talking about it, stems from the fact that in schools here, the picture of the United States is always painted as, oh, the American dream, people come here for a better life and to follow their passion.
Yeah.
Then when they talk about all these stories of people coming here, it's like, oh, they, came here to have a better life. So the most recent immigrant group that's on the rise has been people from Central and South America, right? And then
Mhm.
in the 70s through 90s, there was like a large Asian population that came. And
Mhm.
before that, like, poor people from just like Eastern Europe. And then people are like, oh,
Yeah.
like people in Eastern Europe are poor and stuff like that. Like, there's these weird stereotypes of everywhere that people that come here are poor, like when they first
Mhm.
immigrate, which like isn't true
Yeah.
because it's pretty expensive to immigrate, honestly. So
Yeah.
it's just a weird stereotype to have that people ask others whose parents immigrate, like, in that country, do people live in like grass huts or mud huts or whatever they're thinking of?
Yeah.
Were there any other ones?
I was gonna ask you that too. I know there are some other ones, like, I feel like there's quite a few people who think that all Asians eat, like, cats and dogs and horses and, like, all kinds of different things that I guess people wouldn't eat in the United States.
Yeah.
I've gotten
Hmm.
that before. I don't know if you have or
Yeah, I
not.
have. Just, oh, do you guys eat like dog or cat or whatever?
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of any other ones that were really specific. I mean, we did already talked about, the smart Asian stereotype.
Mhm.
Um,
Oh, another one that people always ask me. Actually, there's two. People always ask me this when they meet me and I tell them that I'm Japanese. They say, "Do you like sushi and do you watch anime?" And I'm gonna say I'm really fucking tired of those questions. And if you ever meet me, you better ask me some different questions because I'm sick of those.
but now you have to answer them.
Literally, my boyfriend asked me, "Do you eat sushi?" on our first date when I met him. I was like, "Are you kidding me? This is the question you're gonna ask me?" But anyway, I will answer them. No, I do not watch anime. I mean, I love Studio Ghibli. Absolutely love it. And like Sailor Moon, stuff like that. Like I would when I grew up in Japan, I would watch like yeah, like I know the classics. Like I know like I would watch the ones that were like Saturday or Sunday morning
Hmm.
cartoons. You know, like it was like that for me. But other than that, no, I do not watch it. You if you try to talk to me about it, I'm not going to know what you're saying. So, don't even try with me. But there's nothing wrong with that. I just like I'm not into it. I don't like I feel like it's just a common stereotype and misconception that all Japanese people watch and love anime. Like no, I don't think anyone in my family
Hmm.
really does.
I guess like anime and stuff, it's the same as Saturday morning cartoon.
Yeah, no, they have like ones that are like made for
Hmm.
kids, you know? So when I was growing up, there was like, it wasn't like a princess thing. It was like a girl superhero group called
Hmm.
Purikia. And it was just like a lot of fun. Yeah, it was like Saturday morning cartoons, just the Japanese equivalent of it. I really
Hmm.
enjoyed it. You've probably heard
Hmm. That
Doraemon
one's really popular.
and yeah, Anpanman, like things like that, just like
Hmm.
kid shows. That's what I grew up watching. I'm just like not really into anime. I don't know. Nothing against it. I just like please don't assume that I watch it just because I'm half Japanese.
Yeah, I do watch anime,
Um,
so that's pretty interesting to hear. I don't watch like a ton of it. I watch a lot of like the popular ones. It's just kind of interesting because I know a lot of people, there is like a subculture of stuff revolving around anime,
mhm.
but not everyone's gonna love anime in Japan just because it's
Yeah.
Japanese. So it's
Yeah.
just like an interesting concept that people like can't grasp the fact that there are people out there that live in Japan that don't love anime.
Yeah, and it's let it go. It's fine if you do. It's fine if I
Yeah.
don't. So like it's like it's just not a big deal. It's just like any other TV show that you like but I
Hmm.
might not like or I like that you might not like. It's not a big deal, but people make it into a
Yeah.
big deal. Oh, and then the sushi thing. Yeah, I've grown to like sushi more. I didn't really like it
Hmm.
before, and I don't eat it all the time either. That's another thing. I think some people think that we eat it like all the time and it's like one of the only things we eat like that and ramen. Like that's it. No, we've got other shit that we like to eat.
That reminds me of like
So
so much, especially nowadays. The one that people ask me is, "Do you know pho?" Or actually, they'll say, "Do you know pho?" And then, first of all, yes, I know what it is, obviously.
no shit.
Like, it's not some new discovery just because it's become trendy to eat nowadays.
Yeah.
Yes, I know what it is. No, I don't eat it every day. And like you said, I
Oh my
feel like a
gosh.
lot of people, when they say like, "Oh, you're Vietnamese," "Oh, I love pho." Okay, so what? What does that have to do with me? You know what I mean? And there's so, like you
Yeah.
said, for Japanese food, there's so many other things. Like for you, there's so many other things besides sushi and ramen, right? There's so many
Yeah.
things that we eat besides pho, and another popular one is banh mi, which is the sandwich, like the baguette sandwich.
Mm-hmm.
But like those are the two really
Yeah.
popular things right now, and Vietnamese coffee is pretty popular. But like I do not live
Mm-hmm.
on Vietnamese coffee and pho. Like I would probably be dead because pho is actually very oily, and the Vietnamese coffee is not good for you because it's just straight up condensed milk in your coffee, which would give you a heart attack
Mm-hmm.
after a couple days if you drink it every day. There's no point in saying that to people. I feel like, they're trying
I,
to relate to you, I think,
yeah,
but it's
I
just weird to
yeah.
assume that it's like me growing up to anyone who's like monoracial, white, and American and being like,
Yeah.
"Oh, you're American? I love hamburgers." Like, what does that add to the conversation?
I love a good old hot dog.
But like, what does that add?
Yeah, literally nothing. But you're right though. Okay, yeah, they're probably trying to relate to you and let's be real, most people probably don't know enough about our
Mhm.
cultures to even be able to closely relate other than what they know, which is the basic shit, which is like what you were saying,
Mhm.
pho and sushi. So I guess it's
Mhm.
okay. but it's like when we can tell you really don't give a shit and you're not even gonna like try and like ask more about
Hmm.
us and you're just gonna leave it at the base level things like that. And I don't know. That's what
Yeah.
bothers me. Oh, I just thought of like another one. But I personally think this is true. Like, like the Asian glow thing,
Oh yeah, I get
how
Asian
that's
glow, so
yeah, I really cannot handle a lot of drinking. I'm gonna be
so for
real.
anyone that doesn't
Um,
know, Asian glow is this, I don't remember exactly what it is. It's like you're missing some enzyme
yeah,
that breaks down alcohol, but what happens is there's a lot of, and I guess it happens a lot mostly with Asian people. And I know some people that don't get this,
yeah,
but you turn your face
yeah, same.
and or body itself turns very red when you drink alcohol because your body like can't process the alcohol or something.
Yeah, I just Googled it. You were right on the money. It's the mutation is prevalent in the East Asian population. It's the flushing response to alcohol among people who carry the mutation. It's sometimes called Asian glow. It occurs in about 560 million people, or about 8% of the world's population.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I do get Asian glow.
Wow. No, me too. It can get bad. Oh my gosh. If you click on the alcohol flush reaction Wikipedia page, there's like this Asian guy that they show a picture of after he's drinking. Well, there you have it. That's like an example of a stereotype that's actually true.
But
So,
that one's not
at
really
least it is for
harmful, I
us.
feel like.
No, it's not. And I don't even know if it's a stereotype. I guess it kind of
Yeah.
is. But I know people who are Asian that don't have Asian
Yeah.
glow, so I don't know. I just can't
I
handle
think it's the
anything.
same as like
So,
lactose intolerance. Like it's a
yeah.
stereotype that, what is it? I think it's a stereotype that Asian people are lactose intolerant.
Yeah, I think it is.
I'm not.
Yeah, I
Um,
love cheese and I will eat it every
my
single
brother
day.
is
And
lactose intolerant. Yeah.
really? Oh, rip.
He
That sucks.
yeah, he developed it.
No.
Yeah, he developed it a couple years ago, and I have a couple cousins who are like violently lactose intolerant and some who are like
Oh my
mildly
God.
lactose intolerant, but I'm fine.
Oh, thank God.
Yeah.
Same.
So, well, good genes for us.
Right.
Which I don't know if that has to do with, being mixed. I think my dad is like partially lactose intolerant.
Oh,
Yeah, like
really?
to certain types of cheeses, which kind of is a good
Yeah.
segue. I was going to ask if you've ever encountered any stereotypes specifically having to do with being mixed.
I'm trying to think of any. Have you?
The only thing I can think of is something that kind of happens, not, it's kind of like almost like a backhanded thing.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people, and I think we're going to have another episode on this about like fetishization of mixed people and having mixed children. So
Yeah.
there's like just a really quick thing on that. There's a lot of people that, and you can see this online a lot, their goal is to have children with someone of another race because they think having mixed kids is not just cool, but like because they think they're pretty and they have like this idealized version of having a mixed kid just to have
Yeah.
one. Like that's their sole reason, is they just want mixed children because they look pretty. And
Mm-hmm.
they have these idealized versions of mixed kids in their head that look like exactly 50-50 of whatever race the father and the mother are. So one that's pretty prevalent that I've seen online is people who are mixed with black and white. So their idealized version is a kid that's light skinned but has Eurocentric features, including green or blue eyes, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they are like so excited to watch for their kid's eye color to change, see if it's going to do anything that isn't brown, right? And
Mm-hmm.
it's really weird that people say this because they'll see you and say, oh, you don't look mixed.
Yeah.
So like, what does mixed look like? Because if you think of genetics with monoracial people, people don't always look like a 50-50 of their parents, right? That's not how genetics work. You can look like 75% your father's mother and then 25%
Mm-hmm.
of your mother, or you can look like your aunt on one side
Yeah.
and like your mom's cousin or something, you know? So it's like, why do they think that it's going to turn out any different for people just because they're biracial? Like the genetics aren't going to be 50-50. And then I've seen comments online of like Facebook threads and stuff where these people get like
Hmm.
disappointed that their kids don't look like the fantasy mixed person that they want.
Well, they shouldn't be parents then,
Yeah, I mean,
in my
no, they
opinion.
shouldn't because they're just having kids because they want their kids to look a certain way.
Yeah. If you want that, then you should play The Sims so that you can alter people the way you want them to look. Yeah, that's how ridiculous it is. Like, it's first of all, it's probably really unfair to your partner if they don't know you're feeling that way and those are your intentions of having a child with them.
Hmm.
So that's really unfair
Hmm.
to them if they don't know that. And it's also really unfair to the child because to me, it sounds like they could care less about anything except the way they look.
Which is like
And
really damaging, right? And I think we'll go
yeah,
way more into this in another episode because this is actually a pretty big issue in the mixed community. But basically, the stereotype that a lot of people face is not looking like the epitome of 50-50, and then people saying they don't look mixed, but what does mixed look like? So
yeah, it's just,
that's the only real one I've encountered about specifically that has to do with being mixed. Mostly the
yeah,
stereotypes have to do with one side or the other.
yeah, and I don't think anyone's ever told me I don't look mixed, but I have heard people say that to other people who are mixed, and I've, like, online and in person.
Hmm.
And although they've never said that phrase to me before, I've had people say, like, oh, you look more Asian today, you look more white today. Like,
Today.
yeah, no, like I don't know. I guess I can get pretty like puffy or like not puffy. There's just some days where I just look more Asian. I don't know. But
Yeah,
anyway.
I think I know what you're talking about. It's a really weird concept because the thing I think that I've had a similar experience with that is I wear glasses, right?
Mhm.
And I've definitely had people say I look so much whiter when I don't wear glasses, but then when I wear glasses, I
Oh,
look more Asian, which is like
okay.
this is really weird.
Okay, it's kind of like the same thing as like when like a woman wears makeup all the time and then she doesn't wear makeup one day and then they're like some people are like, "Oh, you look tired today." No, bitch, like just not wearing makeup. It's kind of like that.
Yeah, like this is just how I look. Um
This
don't
is me.
don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, I don't know. I think I'm weird and I can get puffy in weird moments because I like to eat salty foods and so that makes me puffy and then if I cry I get super
Oh yeah,
puffy around my
I get
eyes. Like
puffy
I
when I
look like
cry.
a yeah, I don't know what it is. I'm the only one in my family. It must be because I'm mixed. But I literally look like a frying pan when I cry.
Oh, but you
Like
look like a
it's
cute frying
awful.
pan.
Yeah, I don't know. There's like, I look like a bee stung me. It's bad. And I get this weird, like, splotchy thing on my forehead.
I get splotchy around my eyes.
Oh my God, what is wrong with us?
It's cause we're mixed, I guess. Which which reminds me of the last kind of specific question I wanted to ask was on the other hand, do you ever have anything attributed to you being white?
Hmm. I'm trying to think. I'm sure there is, like, whenever I visit Japan, I'm sure there are things that they attribute to me that I do or say that are very white or American.
Hmm.
I'm trying to think. Can you think of anything?
Yeah, so I think I've mentioned before that I'm the only one of my generation on my mom's side that's not full Vietnamese.
Mhm.
So, and it's all in good fun that they're joking about stuff like this, right? That they'll attribute certain things. Like one thing that happened the other day actually was I was asking if anyone in our group chat liked eggnog
Mhm.
because I like eggnog. I think it tastes good. And I know it's not for everybody, but no one else in that group chat with my cousins liked it.
Mhm.
And they were like,
Mhm.
"That's your white side showing." And like, that doesn't really make any sense because like it's not a particularly white thing to like eggnog. Like I get it to a certain extent, but like this is just one example, right? The idea that I'm talking about
Mhm.
is just things that I don't have control over getting attributed to because of me being half white,
Mhm.
or even just because like I've mentioned I grew up mostly with my mom, right? So
Yeah.
those I've had things said to me that like you're more Asian than us, but
Yeah.
I grew up with my Asian mom, right? Or like how are you the whitest and the most Asian? And like
Mhm.
what does that have to do with anything first of all? Like,
Mhm.
and it's a stereotype in the sense that it's othering, right? It's still
Yeah.
like they mean it in good fun, like, and I laugh about it, but in a way, it's still othering, and I think other mixed people probably feel this in some sense that like they'll attribute a stereotype of one side or the other to the opposite side. And like,
Yeah.
yeah, even if it's funny or like in good fun, there's still some truth to it that they're othering you.
Yeah.
And that's the only time I think that it's a bad thing is like when there's the exclusion element to it.
Yeah. I think I even do this to myself. I'm the type of person I really like self-deprecating humor,
Hmm.
but this isn't really self-deprecating, but it's just so we were talking about how we love cheese, right? Um but I there's so many times where I've said like, "Oh, I love cheese so much because I'm Norwegian."
Hmm.
And it's perhaps it's maybe not the best thing to say, but it to me it's like a joke, and it's also when you think about it, it makes more sense because I don't know of a lot of Japanese dishes or anyone in my family who actually eats a lot of cheese. Like when we go to Japan, we don't eat a lot of cheese. Like
Right.
there's not a lot of dairy going around over there,
Hmm.
which might be where the lactose intolerance stereotype comes from. I don't know.
Yeah.
But it's just something like that. I think is if you say something like that, I think it's harmless and I really could care less if somebody said that to me because I think it's true.
Hmm.
That's the reason why I love cheese so much is because I'm Norwegian and they like cheese a lot and my dad loves cheese a lot and he's Norwegian and it just I don't know something simple like that doesn't bother me, but yeah, like what you were saying,
It's different
that
when you're doing self-deprecating humor, right? Because
yeah.
you have control over that and you're doing it for comedic effect to build rapport in a group. And
Mhm.
in some instances, like you were saying, it's fine. Other instances, I think, and I'm not saying this for you or for me, but I know that
Mhm.
there are people out there who, with the environment that they're in, this kind of humor, there's something there deep down that they feel like they have to do that to build rapport with the group
Yeah.
they're in. And it's not always a good thing,
Yeah.
but obviously this isn't true for everybody, but for some people there's a deep rooted bad thing there
Yeah. I
when
think
they're
it's
performing that kind of issue or that
yeah.
that kind of joke,
Yeah. I think it gets bad when other people start othering you. And that's when
using it back against you, right?
yeah, yeah, like it's gone beyond the joke and it's got some truth to it and it's like kind of stinging you a little
Yeah.
and they're trying to exclude you and
Mhm.
put you in another category that you can't be a part of and that they're not in.
Mhm.
And that's when it gets to be hurtful. It's tough because I think it
It's a fine
depends.
line.
Yeah, it depends on the person. It depends on the circumstance and like what is said and who's saying it and in what tone.
Yeah, it's a fine line, and I mean everyone's entitled to do whatever they want,
Mhm.
but I think people just need to be aware that things that they say do have an impact on other people on how they view themselves and
Mhm.
how the dynamic is with between those two people or that person and the group, etc.
Mhm.
So just, as kind of a little closing statement on that is just, don't impose stereotypes on others and don't feel like as an individual you have to conform to stereotypes. And there's a whole thing on that in psychology called stereotype threat about conforming to stereotypes.
Mhm.
So don't feel like you have to conform to them to fit in, because I think that's also another thing is makes people have to feel like they need to conform to certain stereotypes to be a part of a group. And even monoracial people, if they're the only person of minority in a group, I've seen this a lot, like not even like in real life, but in media where they'll have like a token Asian friend or a token black friend,
Mhm.
and then they conform to stereotypes to be accepted into that group.
Oh, that's so true.
Yeah, so I feel like a good thing to say is just don't feel like you either have to conform to them or have to play into them to be accepted.
Mhm. Also, if you're trying to ask people about a certain stereotype, don't.
This
Just
is what Google
don't.
exists for.
Yeah, literally just don't do it unless it's like a really, I mean, honestly, I would say just don't do it. Just don't ask them about it. Don't even bring it up. If they bring it up, that's a different story. Then you can start talking about it. But just to be safe and not to offend anyone, just don't do it.
That's one
Um,
thing that I think about when you were talking about the grass hut thing, right?
mhm,
So people did have like family computers that you could use at some point. I mean, now
mhm,
it's different. Like by the time we were in high school, people mostly had their own laptops and phones and stuff, right? But even
yeah,
back then, there was still access for you to Google things instead of like asking people dumbass questions.
yeah.
So
I
it just
mean,
baffles me that stuff like this still happens when you have all the information and you can Google in peace besides of the FBI person in your camera watching you. But you can Google in peace like stupid questions and not get judged by people, right?
yeah, which is fine. Like that's totally fine. I'm sure I've done the same thing. It's not like we're not saying that we've never been or like thought of a stereotype of someone.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely have. I think it's normal to because they go around so much that you just hear about them through media or through
Yeah,
people.
so implicit bias like that is influenced by culture, right? So a lot of the way you think
Mhm.
is influenced by your culture. There's a
Yeah.
good quote about this. It's like your first thought is not one you control because your first thought is what's been taught to you. But
Mhm.
what's important is your second thought.
Yeah.
It's like what you do with that information, thinking, oh, why am I thinking that? Or if you go along with that first thought of implicit bias, right?
Mhm.
So I think that's another good piece of advice is just think before you say
Think
anything.
before you speak. Literally, yeah.
That's what it boils down to, but there's a lot of stuff about implicit bias and it's not your fault if you think of something bad at first because that's how you were exposed to, but it's what you do, like critically thinking about that first thought.
Yeah. That's great. I totally agree with that.
We were just to go back to that Asian glow. We were talking earlier that we both had a good New Year, and I did drink on New Year's Eve in my home. But
What
I
did you
drank
drink?
a couple glasses of Moscato, and it was a fancy bottle from Costco. And what did you drink?
I had this drink called Bold Rock.
Oh,
If anyone's from like the East Coast, you might have
I
heard of
love Bold
this,
Rock.
but I am so obsessed. Like it is my go-to drink. And then my second go-to drink is White
The
Claw
claw is
because
the
I am so
law.
basic. Yeah. Oh my God, that's such a stereotype people have about white people is that they love
The White
Claw.
Claw.
And
I think
yeah,
that's
White Claw,
young white.
white
I
people
think
love
that's
White
young white
Claw,
women.
which,
That's
well, I am not gonna lie, I have seen a lot of young white women like drinking White Claw, and I have to say I do partake in that
mango is
as
the
well.
elite flavor.
Um, What? I totally disagree with you. I to me, it's grapefruit all the way. And you know what the funny thing is? I actually hate grapefruit,
I don't like
but
grapefruit.
I love the grapefruit. I hate grapefruit, but I love the grapefruit flavored White Claw. I'm obsessed with it. Like I bought the package where you only can get it's only
Oh,
grapefruit because I like that so much. I like the lime one too, but the mango one's
mango and
okay.
pineapple are the
I'm
elite
trying to think.
flavors. I don't come near me with your grapefruit.
I whatever. We can get a multi-pack and we can like split it. You know what I'm saying? And then I'll just take like the lime and the grapefruit and you can have the other flavors. Whatever. Oh wait, I think raspberry. That raspberry's pretty
Oh, I
good too.
haven't
I
had
like
the
that one.
raspberry.
I think that's one of the other ones. I don't know. I've been so caught up on the grapefruit that I forgot what the other flavors were. But no, Bold Rock. Oh wait, I didn't say what Bold Rock flavor I like the most. It's tough because I love so many of them, but I my favorite one has got to be the IPA one, which is surprising.
The IPA one's pretty good.
Um, but oh my God, it's so good. I love premium dry. We call it primo. Um, and rosé is like such a good go-to. Plus, it's 6%, so you get that extra oomph when you're drinking.
I've only had a couple Bold Rock
um,
flavors, and they've all been kind of the apple flavors, which are all. I haven't had one that I don't like.
wait, which ones have you tried?
I had one at a restaurant a couple months ago that I don't remember exactly, but it was like one of the apple flavors. I
Mm,
think
yeah, I was it the
it
regular
might have
apple one?
been. I recently bought a 6 pack of it. That was the IPA.
Yeah, I mean it's India Pale Apple. I love IPA. That is so good. Bold Rock
Yeah,
IPA.
the
Go get it,
current
everyone.
one in my
It's
fridge
amazing.
is just the apple hard cider, just a plain apple hard cider.
Oh, is it
Yeah,
like
it's
the
the
green
green one.
one? Yeah, that one's good too. That one's not my favorite, but it's good.
I
It's
didn't get to
classic.
try their holiday flavor. I think they come out with a holiday flavor every year that's like white cranberry or something. I heard
Oh,
it's good.
yeah. I tried that one. That one's really good. Okay, I've tried so many now. I tried the sangria one that they
Oh,
came
that
out with
sounds good.
recently. It's actually really good. I didn't think it tasted like sangria, but I chugged that stuff. It was really good. Pineapple, it just tasted like apple to me. I didn't taste like any
Hmm.
pineapple in it, so I was kind of bummed about that one. They had rosé used to be seasonal, but it became so popular that it
Oh,
became a
I'll have to buy
regular.
rosé.
Oh yeah, you'll like it. It tastes really good. Oh, and if you go to their so Bold Rock, they have like brewery, and if you go there, they have this coffee flavored
Ooh.
one. It sounds really gross, but it's actually amazing. At first, I was skeptical. I was like, I don't know about this coffee flavored Bold Rock. I don't think so, but it's actually amazing. Yeah, that I know a lot about it because that's pretty
To
much
be
all I
clear, we're
drink.
both well over 21. Don't drink underage.
Oh yes, don't worry. We don't condone that
Don't drink underage.
at all.
Yeah, we're only like
Be smart.
we're 6 months apart, right? I think you're older.
Yeah, we are 6 months apart.
Yeah.
Yeah, I am older. I barely. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, do you have like a fun 21st birthday story?
Yeah, so I was a noob, right? And I like never drank ever.
Yeah,
And I just didn't have an interest in it. I didn't care to drink at all.
you weren't a
No, I
partier.
wasn't. I just didn't find any appeal in it, honestly.
Yeah.
So on my 21st birthday, my birthday's later in the year, and I'm always the youngest, so I am the last one always to turn 21, right? So I didn't turn
Yeah.
21 until my senior year of college, into my senior
Oh my
year of
God.
college, right?
That's crazy to me, but that makes sense.
But so, all my other roommates were already well over 21, and they would keep alcohol
Mhm.
in the apartment. But my
Mhm.
birthday is right when midterms happen in the fall semester.
Yeah.
Some schools
Oof.
have a break during that time, like the fall break.
Yeah, fall break.
So
Yeah.
I think we were getting ready all to leave for fall break anyway, and like people were having midterms, like it was not really the time to party. But
Mhm.
they had a Smirnoff Ice in the fridge,
Oh,
and
yes.
so I didn't.
That was your
That was my
first?
like kind of my first drink. They didn't do it to me at midnight, and no one even gave it to me. I was like, hey, can I drink this in the fridge? And they were like, "Oh yeah, sure," because it's like they knew it was my birthday and stuff. And this was like the middle of the day, and I was like, "Oh, I'm icing myself." I didn't even chug it because I didn't know how to do it, and I was like, "This kind of tastes gross." Like I've gotten better about drinking alcohol, but I was like, this
Yeah.
is kind of whatever. So I was like drinking it, and I was like, just kind of like being like, "Haha, I'm 21," getting iced, but it was just me.
Mhm.
So that's my story.
Oh my god, that is so funny. That is so funny. You iced yourself. I'm so dead. Do you not like
I
Smirnoff
haven't
Ice?
had one since then, so like I don't even
What?
drink that much in general.
Yeah, same.
So I haven't had one since then.
Yeah.
I'm a big lately I've been a big white wine person and
Oh,
seltzers once in a
yes.
while and Bold Rock, but that's like I don't really drink that much.
Yeah. I really I like wine if it's like super
Yeah.
sweet. I can't. I think I like ruined myself in college because I would just drink the cheap boxed wine at
Mhm.
parties, and literally I'm so grossed out by it now. I can't even. Drinking wine is not as enjoyable as I think it could have been if I hadn't done that. But it was either that boxed wine or like Kirkland Light from Costco. And it like Kirkland Light was like the worst beer I've ever had in my life. It was so disgusting.
Do you have a 21st
Anyway, yeah,
another 21st birthday story?
yeah, so I went to bars because I was the opposite of you, Lynn. I liked to party and I liked to go out. But yeah, so I went to bars with my friends. Um, and they, I thought this one guy wasn't gonna let me in because he looked at my ID and then he looked back at me and he raised his eyebrow. And I was like, come on, man, it's like almost midnight. But he let me in. Then we went to the trashiest bar in my college town, which I love. It's my favorite bar. But anyway,
Oh, you went the night before you
um,
turned 21?
yeah,
Oh.
so yeah, they let me in though. I heard they would let you in because at the ABC store you can buy it on the day before.
Oh,
Like you can buy
I
alcohol the
didn't
day
know that.
before. Yeah, I don't know. I don't remember why. I think it's maybe just in our state,
Mhm.
but I'm not sure. It could be a countrywide thing. But yeah, so I was like, okay, they're probably gonna just let me go to bars. And like I didn't get denied from any of them, so it was fine. So yeah, me and my friends, we just like had a really fun girls' night at the bars, and it was just awesome because the only reason I like going to bars is because I love to dance, and it's
Oh,
just
I
so
know.
fun.
I
Lynn,
know.
you've seen my
You've
dancing.
seen mine.
No, I just like I really could care less what I look like when
Mhm.
I'm dancing. I just
Mhm.
love dancing. The only downside is just like when you go out there, you got to go with a good
Mhm.
group because you all got to like watch each other's back to make sure nobody's trying to come up on you.
Yeah, as a woman.
Unless you want that, that's fine too. Yeah, I mean, like I would help my friends out who would want to like go there and dance with
Mhm.
people, and I would tell them, "Oh, he's not like he's gone. He's not. No one's home in those eyes." Or they would be like, "Oh, is he cute?" And I would be like, "Well, I have a different judgment than you, so in my opinion, maybe." But yeah, just like especially as girls, you gotta like watch
Mhm.
each other's back. I had just started dating my boyfriend
Mhm.
now. So plan was is that they had like some kind of weird surprise for me at midnight, and his apartment was really close to bars, but he didn't go out with us. So I had a feeling he was planning
Mhm.
something. But I like since it was my 21st birthday, I really wanted to get trash because it was my 21st
Uh-huh.
birthday. So I drink a lot and I wasn't gone though. I knew
Mm-hmm.
what was happening. And I looked at myself in the mirror when we went to the bathroom and I had the worst Asian glow I've ever had in my life. Usually for me, everyone's different. Some people they get it on like the back of their legs, on their
Mm-hmm.
back or whatever. For me, it's always just been on my
Mm-hmm.
cheeks. I looked in the mirror, it was like super splotchy. It was all over my chin. I looked like a mess. I was like, "Oh my God, I cannot see my new boyfriend right now when I'm looking like a hot mess. My hair, I'm sweaty. I'm sweating from dancing so much because there's like 500 people in this bar." And I'm about to go over and see him and get my birthday surprise. But it turned out all right. It was like a lot of fun though. And my Asian glow went away eventually, although he saw it. But I was like so embarrassed because it was so bad. I'd never gotten like that bad of a glow. And I wasn't like, that probably wasn't the night where I drank the most ever. You know what I'm saying? Like, I've definitely had other nights where I drink more and I didn't look
It was
that
just the
bad.
night you
I don't
didn't eat
know.
it the most that it came the most.
Yeah, they, yeah, exactly. They knew.
Who's they?
I don't know what happened.
The
They
enzymes?
in me. Somebody, the enzymes, the genes, the genes in me had a feeling. They were like, oh, we gotta give this bitch the worst Asian glow she's ever had. But it was a really fun night. I didn't have like any bad experience or like I've heard of people like blacking out on their 21st, but that didn't happen to me. So
Yeah,
it was a lot of fun.
I
Um,
think that's a good note to end
but
on. Be
yeah,
safe when you drink, guys. Go with
always go with
friends.
friends if you're
Hmm.
going out. Well, you shouldn't be going out right now. Stay home. Wear a mask.
Exactly.
Yeah, do not, please, just don't like go out to bars or clubs or anything right now. It's probably not the
Hmm.
best thing to do. But do what you want, I guess. But I don't
Hmm.
recommend it.
Just be
But
safe.
yeah, be
Thank
safe.
you for listening. You can catch us on Spotify, YouTube, and Apple Podcasts. A lot of the regular podcast platforms. We're all up on those. And we post every Wednesday. So we'll see you guys next week.
Bye.